What is going on, everybody? It's me, Andrew Guy, back here once again with you to do some No Tilt Worlds casting. I'm really excited about it, especially this very first matchup between Argentina and El Salvador, two squads that are both undefeated going into their second match in their journey to the championship of No Tilt Worlds. Yeah, I'm Andrew Guy. I'm the color commentator for CRL West, and I'm very excited to be here, invited by Koji and Manu. And right here you can see Group F, Argentina and El Salvador still at the top, playing very well. The very interesting thing about this matchup is going to be the 2v2. You know, both these squads have stellar 1v1 players. Of course, Franco Medina and excuse me, and of course Kyle X 3-1, Franco Medina 4-0, playing very well. So gonna be excited to see those guys play some more. But the 2v2, like I was talking about, is going to be interesting. You know, 2v2 for Argentina's been kind of up and down with Ali and Nitram, and of course their opponents, Kyle X, in the 2v2 as well with Polito 2-0. So I think it'll be very interesting to see how the 2v2 lineups fare. Here we go. We got Ali, Nitram, Franco Medina, and of course Lince all coming out for Argentina, getting coached by Elke. Great guy there. On the other side of it, El Salvador getting coached by Luffy. Ney Guzman, BMX, Kyle X, and of course Rigo 12. So very excited to see all these guys. Excited to see the 2v2. It's going to be best of threes unless we get to the King of the Hill. So we're going to start off with 2v2 set, then the 1v1 set. And then after that will be King of the Hill, which is the best of 5. Each squad has 3 players. Each player has 1 life, and it's basically the first team to get to those 3 victories. I'll say hi real quick before we pop into a game. How's everyone doing? Good to see you guys. Happy to be back. I know that Rich Slayton's been doing a very good job locking down these matches while I have not been here, or I guess I've been filling in for him more so, whatever it is. I'm excited to be here. I'm excited to be back at CRL 2020. I can't wait for those matches to get going. I'll try to check in on the live chat, say hi to you guys every now and then, but you know, I'm gonna try to stick to the casting of the matches, but I'll try to pop in, make sure my audio is doing okay, video's doing okay, and that you guys are having a good time. How are we feeling about this first matchup, Argentina and El Salvador? Who do you guys got? Like I said, both of them are undefeated. Both of them have 1v1 All-Stars. I'm really excited to see the matchup there. I want to see what Franco Medina does. I want to see who can take him down. I had the honor of casting the matches that these guys were in earlier in the week, where they took down Bolivia and Uruguay, who will be coming up next, or coming up today, later on, I believe. So, yeah, who do you guys have in the matches? Let me see if I can pull up the live chat here and check out what you guys are up to. I'm curious. I'm definitely curious to see who is going to come out and lock down these top 2 spots here. I'm wondering if they're going to change up their 2v2, maybe put Lince in the 2v2, or give someone else a shot. But the you know, just one showing. Going 1 and 2 isn't the end of the world. You know, it's obviously not what you want in in your starting match, but they still won, so they can't be too upset about it. Maybe just those guys were a little off in communication. It's got to be a little bit more difficult than in real life when you have your teammate right there with you. So here we go. We do have our lineups. Going to be Ali and Nitram once again going up against Kyle X and Ney Guzman, who in the last 2v2 was Kyle X and Polito. So here we go. Match 1. Game 1. Let's do this. Dark Pred's coming in to meet that Dark Goblin there. Barbell coming in just in time to keep that Dark Goblin alive a little bit longer. Preserve some of that HP. Here getting some good value in on that Lava Hound. Miner in on top of the Musketeer, but Arrow's coming in to clean up all those pumps, so Miner stays alive but not able to tank for anything. Slowing down, resetting. See there, bottom of your screen, Tornado is banned. Top of your screen going to be Giant Skeleton, so Tornado being banned. See the Lava Hounds coming in immediately. We'll see if Balloons come behind them. Balloons become much more difficult to stop. Although you have to imagine that that bomb tower will assist the Dark Prince coming down the tank for the Baby Dragon. Bat's going to get it right on top of that. Snowball, really nice snowball there, so Baby Dragon going to get in and get a lot of damage on the tower. So a Musketeer comes down in response, but damage already dealt. Mega Knight does leap and get a swing on the top left-hand tower, but El Salvador off to a very nice start. Wall Breaker is going to connect on the left-hand side. Nothing there. Kind of surprising. Not even, you know, 11 elixir in hand. Probably 9 at the moment those Wall Breakers came down, but maybe just not a good response, or they were waiting on their teammate. So Lavahound goes down in the right. Very aggressive mini-pack of Bats. Miner push in the left. Stopped really easily, and the Dark Goblin going to stay on the side to support the Lavahound. Really, really nicely played Dark Goblin there. Going to go ahead and get on top of the Bomb Tower as well. Is why the Dark Goblin is one of my favorite cards in the game. Such massive range. Going to take out that tower. Mega Minion there to turn around and help with the Bats. Bats probably going to take the Mega Minion out, but top left hand here. Good defense being played. Miner does not get picked up, but still a decent amount of health remaining. 475 can't quite get spelled out. Sometimes the best defense is offense, so Dark Goblin played a little bit too close to that Bomb Tower. Rocket comes down, taking that tower right off the board. We'll see how that 6 elixir missing could be made up for here with some good defense, or will they lose the tower? Clean, but still a lot of damage done. So Valkyrie Knight Ocean right hand lane can basically be ignored. El Salvador calling good game. I feel like it's completely over yet, though. Wallbreaker's going in. Looks like there's been a little bit of lag service side here, but we're still in it. Dark Prince going to eat up that fireball happily. Shield stays on and protects the Dark Prince. Tower's basically even, so definitely not a good game yet. Need to see some coordinated miners plus wall breakers here in the top right, and miner poisons. 45 seconds left though. Need to save a lot of elixir for defense. Mega Knight goes in the pocket. Really, really nice Mega Knight in the pocket. Leaps on through. Miner goes to the back. And a sneaky, sneaky little steal of the 2v2 game there from Argentina. Really nicely played. I was getting so distracted with what was going on the bottom side of the screen. But Argentina was able to drop that Mega Knight in the pocket. Really, really smart move there, recognizing what their opponents did and did not have in cycle. And seeing going, all right, well, they probably don't have a lot on the ground now, so we'll send in a Mega Knight, see what happens. Ended up working out pretty well. Whew. Okay, first one in the books. I need to like wake up. You gotta get in like caster mode, and I'm ready to go now. So, really interesting. You know, no balloon in play, even with Tornado being out of play, which is, you know, the bomb tower was there for defense. But I really think, you know, you should at least try something with the balloon. Ram Rider, a really good response there, but you know, those weren't being played, so, you know, not having Tornado in there seems like balloon would have been a good response. Good win condition to try out, but, you know, decided to go Lava Miner instead, and Miners got through on both sides of the board. Wall breakers were interesting, only having one set of wall breakers, I believe, which, you know, a lot of times we end up seeing 2 sets of wall breakers in 2v2, but, you know, they don't really provide any defensive utility, so maybe that's one of the reasons why we're not seeing as many of them today, I believe. I mean, the one day that I had cast the tournament, I saw a lot of those double wall breakers. So let's take a look at some of the stats here for you guys. So Miner Loon, I mean, excuse me, that's what I was hoping. But Lava Miner on one side of it, the other side in Argentina. You see here a lot of miner damage. Mega Knights came in. Mega Knight kind of the winner of the day, and that rocket at the very, very end to even things up. They did a great job responding to spending that elixir. You know, a lot of times you'll see in 2v2 when a team has to make up for that tower at the very end, they'll spend a lot of elixir on spells, and then find themselves losing a tower almost immediately in double elixir time, or in overtime, excuse me. But you know, not the case today. Played really well, able to defend adequately and stay alive. Moving into the rest of overtime. And that Mega Knight in the pocket was real sneaky, because if that does not go well, that is a lot of wasted elixir that can be easily distracted. But went really well for them. Left on through to the tower. Miner got there. Miner wasn't really even necessary. Game number 2. So, wall breakers. Right out the gate. Princess. So, you know, we saw some log bait in 2v2 on Tuesday when I was casting, and biggest problem with the team playing log bait was that they were just giving way too much spell value. You need to make sure you're moving those logs around, spreading them out, make sure you're not stacking your princesses and dark goblins. Right there, you see one dark goblin goes to the right, princess on the left hand side. Good ideas there. You know, just small mental mistakes were being made that you start to give your opponent massive elixir advantages or great elixir, positive elixir trades. So, Mini P.E.K.K.A with the poison, waiting for some small splashy troops because they saw a lot of log bait, and they wait, hold, and drop a Mega Knight. So, aggressive on both sides of the board. So, arrows on one side, log on the other. Mega Knight will not leap. So recognizing their elixir advantage, or at least a safe moment here, decided to drop their Mega Knight in the back. Princess at the river, a missed log on the wall breakers, and the Mega Minion comes down, so not exactly the exchange that Argentina was looking for right there. See if they can make up for it on the right-hand side with offense, but Mini P.E.K.K.A going to make some quick and easy work of that Mega Knight. And Miner maybe to the back. Yep, Miner turns Mega Knight around. Magic Archer getting a great amount of value, being on the board for about 10 seconds. It's a piercing shot. So Royal Giant comes out here. Log bait Royal Giant Mega Knight, kind of a take on that little Chen deck that we saw a couple years ago at World Finals. No Skeleton Army so far, which is interesting because Skeleton Army has been showing up more and more lately in Grand Challenges and on ladder, just because Mini P.E.K.K.A is so freaking popular these days. Poison on the bottom right-hand side, kind of a rush for the finish here. Double Goblin Barrel comes in, great log on top of the tower, but still poison value there, poison damage. Royal Giant doing a great job of playing defense throughout that entire game, kind of managing the game, able to create just enough offense. You saw that they held the Royal Giants until they got in double elixir time, which is when they were really, really able to start turning up the pressure. Royal Giant, such a strong, strong card, but it's one of those cards kind of like, you know, the Royal Hogs, where if you find yourself, or even Graveyard, talking more so, I mean, this counts in 2v2, but, you know, most of us spend more time playing 1v1, but, you know, dropping your Royal Giant, or your Graveyard, or your Royal Hogs too early or too aggressively in single elixir can really, really be a detriment to your success moving forward. So I really like what they did. They played smart. They were splitting up their troops, not giving their opponent too much spell value throughout the game. As soon as they got in double elixir, they were able to turn up the pressure with the Royal Giants on the left-hand side and continue to defend pretty adequately in the right-hand side. I mean, it definitely got close there, but the Royal Giant at the end, enough pressure to make it so that their opponents could not spend on spells to spell out their tower in the bottom right-hand side. So Argentina taking this in 2. Let's take a look at these. Game stats. Magic Archers. Or Magic Archer from Guzman. Getting a good amount of value early on, but not able to really create too much of a menace with it. Not too many of those piercing shots. As you see, there isn't a great way to get the Magic Archer directly off the board other than the poison, but, you know, Magic Archer's got to stay standing in the poison. Otherwise, it's kind of what we talked about. Only a couple Royal Giants came down. You know, Goblin Barrels, they did a good job of spreading them out, 4 each from Nitram and Ali, and they only at the very end was when they kind of double dropped those Goblin Barrels, which, you know, it made sense, hoping that maybe the first barrel was able to get a stab in from each of the Goblins before the second barrel populated the map. Royal Hog, or excuse me, and the Hog Rider only used a couple times as well, and we saw that earlier in single elixir. I think definitely to create offensive presence, but more so I think was a way to help control the tempo, right? Like, you can't just play on your heels for the entirety of single elixir with this deck, with this cheap, quick deck. Got to create a little bit of offense with the Hog, just so your opponent can't build up these big pushes, or, you know, these Mega Knight pushes. You start to see your opponent drop Mega Knights at the back and cycle around to dropping another one at the river, and you can be in a lot of trouble, especially if they've got Magic Archers hiding behind, but not the case here. So Argentina playing really, really well to come from behind victory in 2v2, and or excuse me, in that first game of 2v2, and played pretty strong throughout that second game. Now it's going to be all about the battle of the 1v1 All-Stars. Who's going to bring it home for their squads? Big fan of Franco Medina. He was playing very, very well the other day. I was incredibly impressed by the way that he played, and he played a lot of different decks. He wasn't just kind of a one-trick pony, which is something that I've noticed from a lot of the standouts here in No Tilt, is that, you know, the day of being a one-trick pony is kind of... that's gone. You know, it doesn't really work that way anymore. Competition's too steep, and players are scouting each other too closely on ladder and in grand challenges and in practices for CRL or in training to be in CRL, that if you are a one-trick pony, it just doesn't really work out that well as you move on in competitive play. So as I said before, Franco Medina 4-0 in his 1v1 matchups, 100% win rate there. On the other side of it for El Salvador, Kyle X was the guy that came out in 1v1. We also saw Polito in, or excuse me, not Polito. We saw Rigo come out in 1v1 also, but he's been hit and miss. He's 2-2, you know. So Kyle did play in 2v2, so we're probably not going to see him in 1v1. Maybe we'll see Rigo coming out. I think he probably seems like their best bet, unless they decided to save Polito for that. So I don't know. We'll see. The thing is, you don't know these players as well, because they're still newer. So I'm still trying to figure out all the best lineups. Who's the guy? And plus, you know, since it's only their second matchup, we're not sure if they had a rotation decided from the very beginning, or if they're just going to go with the hot hand. So second match should be underway very, very quickly. Let's see. Second set, excuse me. So there you have it. Franco Medina coming out again for Argentina, and for El Salvador going to be BMX 13. BMX 13. Not seen any of BMX so far. Did not play in the first match, so be interesting here. Franco Medina showed a handful of decks, and BMX has not shown any. So there we go, the most powerful defensive combo in the game. But Baby Dragon, Ice Wizard, and NATO all out of cycle. Bomb Tower here to help out on the right-hand side, but that balloon should get a connection. Ice Wiz back in cycle. Balloon should get one drop. And the help from the bomb tower. Nice placement there from the bomb tower, but still taking a lot of damage, maybe cycling a little bit too carelessly early on. On that left-hand side, you see the first 3 cards used were all great air defense cards, so BMX sees that opening, tries to take advantage of it, and it pays off. Steal that poison value, take the Magic Archer off the board. Magic Archer, one of the few cards in the game that just as soon as it is on the board, you spend the spell value at positive elixir trades or even elixir trades, sometimes even negative, just take it out of the way. Get it off the board, because if they ever get stacked or they ever get in an inopportune position, you can cause so much damage. So Barbaro coming in, gonna get a swing on that tower. Well played. Just getting a little bit of chip if or where he can. Play very carefully here in single elixir. So NATO and cycle. Maybe Frank will try to activate King Tower here, but he needs to take out the miner. I guess he doesn't have to take out the miner. I think he just maybe activates King. So there's the activation on King Tower. Graveyard finally comes out. Baby Dragon is taken for the skeletons. Ice Wizard there, not slowed on the tower, but slow on the E-Wiz. So a great blow landed here on BMX from Franco. You knew he was running Graveyard. That's, you know, you see all those cards together. You know, it can be 99% of the time it's going to be Graveyard, especially when you see the Knight finally coming out at the end there. Sometimes with the first 4, you can still, or even 5, you can still see Royal Giant. So BMX got nice hits on both towers, but now in a difficult position with the elixir flowing much more quickly, and the cycle here of Franco going to make sure he probably always has at least 2 of his 4 responses in cycle for those balloons. So Graveyard comes out, getting tanked for, has to send in the defensive miner, so now already Franco can think the next time a balloon hit comes in or a balloon push comes in, he can defend a little bit more cheaply. BMX just needs that one balloon drop, but it seems impossible at this moment. Here we go. Graveyard comes down. Skeleton's not getting tanked for. Ice was in cycle on the board. Tornado's still in cycle. There it is. Pretty good job defending there, but just kind of delaying the inevitable at this point. Magic Archer not piercing through. Franco playing that really close. Pull out a NATO here. The other side of the board, avoid any death damage. And a high Knight catch the Magic Archer. Franco managing this very well, and then the straight poison to end things out. So playing Graveyard, which is pretty popular. Definitely not the most popular deck that we've seen. I can talk to you guys about some of the more popular decks that we've seen in the tournament here now that the game is over. Really well played by Franco, though. I truly enjoy watching this guy play Clash Royale. He's so good. He plays so smart, and like I said, he plays very diverse decks. So let's take a look here at some of the more popular decks that we've seen during the tournament. So some of the top decks that we've checked out so far has been P.E.K.K.A. Miner Poison Control, and this Graveyard deck actually not even in the top 5 of the most used decks, but definitely one of the most used decks in Grand Challenges still at this point. Kind of surprised that it's actually P.E.K.K.A. Miner Poison. It's been played 8 times total with 5 wins and 3 losses. After that is Lava Miner, which makes sense. You know, we've been seeing a ton more Lava Miner lately, which I'm okay with. I mean, it's definitely it's not my favorite archetype to play up against, or you know, being a mortar guy, but it can still fare okay. So Argentina and El Salvador battling it out right now for that #1 spot in Group F, and Argentina technically on top going into this and staying on top throughout. Really nice 2v2 set there, and now into 1v1. Franco Medina doing exactly what you expect him to do if you watch him play. You know, he seems indestructible at this point. Hasn't been really anyone that's made him sweat. I think there was maybe one game last Tuesday, where it looked like he might lose it, but still always able to come back. Let's see if we have some stats here for you ladies and gentlemen. So Franco doing a good job holding those graveyards till he got into double elixir time. It's something that I've started to do more. I'll play grand challenges and I'll tell myself, like, if I do a grand challenge with graveyard, I'm like, all right, I'm not going to graveyard till double elixir. I don't care if there's a massively opportune moment. I'm just not going to graveyard till double elixir, just to train myself to get used to being able to defend efficiently throughout single elixir, you know, not go into double elixir with too much of a deficit, and that's exactly what Franco did. He took that balloon hit early on when he cycled his, you know, the 3 best cards to defend against balloon, which was Baby Dragon. Well, I guess 3 of the 4 best cards. Baby Dragon, Ice Wizard, and Tornado were all out of cycle, so he ended up defending the balloon with a bomb tower, and then Ice Wizard came back in cycle, ended up taking a bomb drop and the death damage. So, you know, no one's perfect, but Franco played that really well, and once he was able to recognize what his opponent's win condition was and what the deck he was going up against was, he was pretty much knew exactly what he needed to do. Not cycle anything too carelessly. Make sure he always has at least 2 of his responses in hand. Ideally, always having the bomb tower, though, because the bomb tower is the one that can kind of delay and reset the longest, and as you move into double elixir and overtime, you're able to cycle back to your Tornado or your Ice Wizard. And the great thing about it is, you know, with where you're playing the bomb tower, pulling it to the center of the map, you can still defend with your Ice Wizard or your Baby Dragon on one side, and they still work themselves towards the tower that you're trying to take down. So here we go. Game number 2 could be the end of the line for El Salvador. BMX 13 trying to keep them alive. Some wall breakers to start out. So, wall breakers on both sides of it, looking like a mirror matchup here. Mega Knight comes out first, and probably just ignore the miner on the left-hand side is Franco to commit all in on the right. And Mini Pekka there to meet the Mega Knight, but Mega Knight's still pretty healthy, gonna get supported with some minions, so we'll see how Franco decides to respond to this. A miner plus a zap with no elixir in hand, this is gonna hurt. Mega Knight's still alive, tanking for those minions, does not get the leap, but both the wall breakers will connect with a bit of minion damage there. So both these guys were setting. Franco going to be the first one to drop. Goes Musketeer in the back. So Muskie for Muskie, will we see? No, probably not a Mega Knight now, with the Bandit being cycled in the back as well. So Franco definitely being the more aggressive of the 2 players. And Minions doing great work here for Franco. Now late minions get dropped down for BMX. Maybe we'll see some miner, or a miner to support. Miner plus wall breakers, maybe. Yeah, miner plus wall breakers, but in the opposite order, so only 1 wall breaker connects. Miner gets picked up by the Mini Pekka. Things pretty even here. Mega Knight catches that Bandit for another counter push. See what he does. See if he lets it die on the vine or if he's going to double down. So doubles down. Mega Knight and minions on both sides of the board with Musketeers behind to support. Miner comes in for Franco to keep his tank alive and keep his Musketeers safe. Cycles back to another Mega Knight and catches the Bandit. Really, really nicely played there by Franco. So it felt like he was losing the battle at the river, but was able to beat the cycle and drop a more beefy card, but really, really well kited by BMX 13 with those wall breakers. Mini Pekka not getting tanked for by the miner. And snowball into the back. back, but goblins stay alive. Now no snowballs to help with these minions. Minions in front of the Mega Knight, unfortunately for Franco. 478 to 898. A minute and a half remaining. Maybe defensive miner here, or he goes Mini P.E.K.K.A. Mini P.E.K.K.A plus goblins and the zap keeps all those wall breakers, or both those wall breakers, and all that damage off the tower. So it's just going to be about playing these battles at the river and who can catch the miners better. Franco obviously in the lead here. Bandit taking a big hit. Mini P.E.K.K.A up and to the right. Does take the wall breakers off the board. The great equalizer in the wall breakers. Goblins connect to the front. 323, 706. BMX still in this, trying to keep things alive for El Salvador, but just dropped a whole lot of elixir right into that Mega Knight, but definitely has enough elixir for a Mega Knight of his own. Miner to the back. Does not get caught by the goblins. 3 hits from the miner. Needs 1 more. Nope. Does not get it. Miner to the back. Mega Knight up front. Mega Knight does not hit the wall breakers. Zap comes in. Whew, this is crazy. 131. Goblin's going to catch the miner as they get dropped early. Really, really nice play on the goblins there. 131. Snowball hits the musketeer. Mini P.E.K.K.A in the back. Wall breakers coming on through. Zap is there. It needs 1 more unit. Does the miner connect? Do the goblins connect? 131. Oh my gosh, I can't even see. I think BMX just took it. Wow. Wow. How? I mean, I said it. How many miners in a row was BMX going to catch? And I think he caught, what, the last, like, 3 or 4, or at least 4 of the last 5? That was amazing. Amazing. Never give up. Never give up. Never surrender. A great snowball at the end just to create a little bit more room for his miner to get some more chip damage in. And an amazing, amazing presence with his cycle. His ability to get another miner down in those final seconds. I think Franco did not know that he'd already played 4 cards and was back to another miner. At least I didn't think so. And then I'm pretty sure Franco did not expect him to catch that miner once again at the front of the tower. So that was, whew, that was really, really well played. I love watching battles like that where, you know, it's basically a mirror matchup and you're seeing who is going to play. I mean, what was the difference of just between the Mini P.E.K.K.A and the Bandits? So you love seeing how those games work out. You love seeing how many miners getting caught changes, you know, the outcome of the match. And yeah, I love that. I love that. You know, mental games over and over, mind games back and forth. And Franco Medina finally drops a game. BMX 13 here now, even up, right? 0-0, winner takes all right here is, you know, El Salvador would move into King of the Hill, whereas Argentina would just take the match. So, not sure what's going to happen here, but I do know that was an incredible, incredible game. All about the miners. 9 miners from BMX. That 1 extra miner. 8 from Franco Medina. And so nice with that bandit catch there. 10 bandits played as opposed to 6 Mini P.E.K.K.As. Obviously not the same card or the same cost, but interesting is it being the biggest difference there in the snowballs and the zaps. But you know, otherwise we're seeing Goblin, Musketeer, Miner, Mini P.E.K.K.A, or Mega Knight, wall breakers on both sides of from these 2 countries. So Franco finally drops a game in 1v1. BMX clutches things out. It looked like it was just going to be a clean sweep, 4 up, 4 down for Argentina, but no, says BMX, and really excited to see what these guys come out with in this last game. I have no idea. I have no idea what they're going to play. They've been playing things, you know, Franco, this will be his 7th game that he's played in 1v1, and I don't think he's repeated a deck. I'm pretty sure he hasn't. Unfortunately, I don't have the information in front of me, but I'm pretty sure he has not repeated a deck yet, so maybe now's the time. You know, 7 decks deep is it's not too crazy. Mega Knight really popular in the meta right now. You know, we're also seeing more and more Lava Miner, and as I said here in the tournament specifically, the top decks that we've seen, you know, Miner, Poison, Control with P.E.K.K.A. Following that is Lava Miner with the double dragons, Inferno and Baby. And then after that is the classic, you know, Miner, Valkyrie, Magic Archer decks that have been. How long has that been? It's been like 3 months now that Magic Archer, Miner, Valkyrie deck has just been at the top of the Grand Challenge boards. So here we go. Game number 3 underway. Franco Medina takes game number 1 with Graveyard. BMX takes game number 2 with a very near mirror matchup and a amazing clutch bandit at the end. Will we go to King of the Hill? Or will Argentina walk away with a W? Obviously those stats on the bottom right were created before the matchups today. So Minipeka should take out the Musketeer. Does not. Franco looking like he's running back the exact same deck. BMX here turtling up. Barbaro comes out a second late, so the Mega Knight gets a great leap on through. Mega Knight taken out along with the Musketeer and the Miner. Really, really nice defense there from BMX, but still ends up taking about 500 points of damage. Musketeer going to meet a Minipeka. Maybe going to try to respond with some Skellies. Nope. I guess he must have played them on that last defense and missed them. Played on top of the Miner. So both guys are sitting. BMX hits 10, just has to drop an Ice Golem in the back. Bomb Tower for a -2 trade. But a very healthy Bomb Tower. Franco recognizing that he's up Elixir, decides to play his Mega Knight in the back and honestly hopes that by the time he gets his Mega Knight across the river, that Bomb Tower will be off the board, or at least not quite as healthy. Well played Ice Golem, no leap. And a defensive Miner to protect this Musketeer. Minions come down at the very end there to catch the balloon, which finally comes out. Had to assume that was the win condition, looking at the quick cycle and cheap cards. I mean, look at how quickly BMX can get back around if he needs to, and you know, Franco only having 2 great responses to air. Gonna probably have some issues keeping up with the cycle if BMX plays some nice defenses. Franco doing a good job keeping up the offense. Now leaking a little bit of Elixir, both these gentlemen. Ice Golem Balloon goes right into the Musketeer. And we're looking to catch the Miner on top, but Franco triples down with the Minipeka, and BMX decides to halt. Halt. So Ice Golem does get dropped right by the Musketeer, but does not actually catch the Miner. And now a reset onto the Miner here, so Goblin's staying alive. One Goblin should stay alive, and does not make it to tower. Miner there. Franco's still in the lead, but a minute and a half remains, and you know one bomb drop from that balloon can change everything. BMX just needs to, I don't know, he's got to play some really, really clean and cheap defense, and then be able to get this balloon in on the opposite lane. So here he goes, but minions there, not taking out the Ice Golem. The Ice Golem gets on through, and now we got a Mega Knight top of a Musketeer on the other side of the board. So down 2 Elixir is BMX, and he's going to eat those wall breakers on the right-hand side, try to get this balloon hit on the left. But another really, really nice layered defense there from Franco. Minions up front, Musketeer behind, nothing focusing on the Ice Golem. Climb to the back right-hand side, now the right-hand tower is the lower of the 2. BMX not knowing what to do. You see him leaking about another 2 Elixir there, trying to make a decision. His cycle is just not where he needs it to be. He's got to get the Ice Golem in front of the balloon and then get the Snowball on top of the minions after that Ice Golem pops, to at least slow them longer, take them off the board. So Franco looking like he's going to clutch things out here with only 10 seconds left, unless a miracle happens for BMX. It will be Argentina staying perfect through 2. Franco's mini P.E.K.K.A does not connect, but wall breaker's there. Balloon comes down, not going to do it. BMX 13 just a little bit too far behind, and even though he had the great quick cycle to create a lot of offense, he had a hard time defending. Franco knew what he was playing early on. He knew what deck he was going up against, and he knew that that deck does have some defensive capabilities, but it's not very beefy. When you have that cheap, quick cycle cards, you got to play some very, very perfect defenses throughout the entirety of that 5 minutes. So Franco Medina, excuse me, does it again. He goes 2-1 this time, so you know, not perfect, but you can't fault the guy. He's at 6-1 now. So really, really well played. Definitely a force to be reckoned with here in Argentina, or for Argentina. El Salvador now dropping to 1-1, and this next match, obviously very, very important, or the other match in their bracket, very important, between Bolivia and Nicaragua. Wow, I'm having a hard time speaking today. Which will be up in just a little bit. Obviously, we're going to have some stats from game number 1. They did talk a little bit about replays. I'm not sure if we'll be getting replays to you guys today, but they will be happening very, very soon. So next up is Bolivia and Nicaragua, the match I was just talking about. These are the respective losers of the first 2 matches between El Salvador and Argentina. So one of these guys is going to move into a great spot. And just tell you... So it was Bolivia that lost 1-2 to El Salvador. And then it was Nicaragua that lost 1-2 to Argentina. So if Nicaragua takes out Bolivia, they will find themselves in a very, very nice position. But we've got a little bit of time before the next matchup. I'm sure, like I said, we'll have some stats for you guys to take a look at. Here they are. And then we'll probably take a little bit of a break before we get into the next match of the day. 9 miners and 6 balloons, and not able to get 1 drop? Did you get any drops in at all? It was all about the Musketeer and the minions. I mean, didn't feel like he had a lot of air responses, but those 2 were definitely enough. And you see BMX's cards, no big spell to take either of them off the board. And he had a really, really hard time getting the balloon tanked for by the Ice Golem to pop, and then get the snowball on top of whatever it popped on. Ideally, the goblins or the minions, but, you know, just not able to do it. There's only a couple times he was able to put the offense together the way that he liked, but on the other side of it, Franco had all the cards that he needed in his hand to deal with it. So, BMX does a great job there in game number 2, stays alive, maybe even steals the game, but you know, in game number 3, as I was saying, his cycle was just rough. He just was not able to get the cards where he needed them, when he needed them, and that really became the big problem. You know, those balloon decks, even with the quick cycle, if you're getting your cycle disrupted on defense, despite what you're trying to do on offense, it still makes it basically impossible to break on through, right? Like, you still really, really need to have that perfect choreographed offense on those balloon pushes. Even with the quick cycle, you know, BMX was not able to get back around and fix it. He was just in trouble the whole game. And you know, those minions, as cheap as they were and as easily as they are to spell off the board, if all you have is a snowball, that's all you got. You're not gonna be able to do that. So 2-0 there for Argentina. See some matchups here for Group F. So that was the 3rd matchup. Now 4th going into Bolivia and Uruguay. And after that will be Bolivia and Argentina. Or Nicaragua, sorry, not Uruguay. My apologies. That was the other match that I casted on Tuesday. So there you have it. Nicaragua, like I said, in a good spot with a win today. We tied up with El Salvador. Argentina perfect through 2. You know, and seeing what they did today in 2v2 was really nice if you're a fan of Argentina, or if you're the squad in Argentina, seeing what they did in 2v2 today, it seemed like they had a much better grasp, better communication, better defense, just more efficient play all the way across the board. That was one thing that we saw a decent amount on Tuesday, was just slight double drops, slight mental mistakes, slight errors that were happening throughout 2v2 that just really gave their opponents advantage. And, you know, some of the more seasoned squads, for instance, like Brazil, you know, when their opponents made any of those mistakes, they were able to completely pick them apart, even to the point of, let's say your opponent is still defending efficiently, they're not overspending, they're not double dropping, but they're defending the exact same way every single time. The seasoned or more vet squads will recognize that and pick it apart. So again, as I go back to Brazil, I think about the way their opponent was defending over and over again, with the giant skeleton dropped right in the middle, or it was their Mega Knight to stop the giant skeleton. But either way, essentially, to stop their tank, their opponent was responding by dropping a card right in the center of the lane. So in order to win the game at the very end, they just dropped Magic Archer behind it. Magic Archer was tanked for like 10 seconds, took 1,000 damage off the tower, and it was GG. So here you go, guys. About 14 minutes before we get into the next matchup. You see the first match of the day, 2-1, Argentina over El Salvador. And I'll be back in just about 13 minutes or so. So go grab a drink, grab a snack, and grab a flag from the country that you're rooting for. Wave it around. All right, we are back and almost ready to go. Bolivia, Nicaragua. Who you got? Nicaragua in a great position now with the fall of El Salvador. Bolivia needing to pick up a 2v2 set victory. 2v2 game win would be ideal for them. I think last time we saw Rayo and 007 did not go well. Mao did pretty well in the 1v1. So you see right there, Colombia and Peru coming up after this, and then the U.S. and Dominican Republic at 10 o'clock Eastern Time. I think full frontage might take over for me there, but unfortunately I will have to step out after this match. But excited to see where things end up here in Group F. Argentina takes down El Salvador in a quick 2-set sweep. Franco Medina shows that he is human with a 1-game loss there, but really only by about a minor hit, so we won't hold it against him too much. El Salvador played pretty well in both sets, taking a game off their opponents, but just not able to close things out. Bolivia and Nicaragua, their two victims from the matches on Tuesday. One of them looking to get in a very, very strong position moving forward. Some of the numbers that I was looking at in between the matches here, I can share them with you guys. But we'll talk lineups here. So we got Rayo, 007, Mao, and Leonardo. Haven't yet seen Leonardo. The other side of it, you might know him. Tommy, or as we like to call him, the Nicaraguan Ninja at CRL. Sergio Tremino, Dr. Castillo, and Trainer Pegasus. Sergio Tremino struggled a bit in the 1v1 set after Tommy and Trainer Pegasus picked up 2v2. And then it was actually Franco Medina, who we were just talking about, that took Tommy out in the final game of King of the Hill and moved their squad forward. Staying perfect now. So we'll see. They changed things up in the 2v2. I mean, you know, Tommy looked good in that 2v2 set. It was good to see him there. Him and Trainer Pegasus played well. But, you know, maybe you want to end up saving Tommy for the 1v1. Or maybe you're happy having Tommy in 2v2 and playing in King of the Hill. Usually he's a very, very strong King of the Hill player. And, you know, it's not that he didn't play well against Franco. Franco was just playing incredibly well and has remained to play very, very well. So I am really curious to see how Rayo and 007 do in this 2v2 set. I think it's really, really important for them to at least pick up a game win. You know, even a game win if they end up losing this set and they find themselves in King of the Hill, they'll just have a little bit more confidence going in. But if you haven't been able to pick up a game in 2v2 sets and then you're forced into King of the Hill, it just can be blow after blow after blow to your ego, which we all know we get tilted when we play Clash Royale, and it's the same for the pros. You know, there's some pros out there that are at the highest level who are untiltable. You know, talk about like the Canarios, the Mortons of the world. But still, you're in this tournament here at NTWorlds. You got something to prove for your country. You got something to prove for all your fans. And of course, you got something to prove for CRL 2020, which is coming up. So here we go. 2v2. Underway, Rayo and 007 coming back out again against Tommy and Trainer Pegasus, so neither squad decides to change up their lineup. So Giant Skeleton's not banned here in 2v2, so of course both squads rock the Giant Skeleton. Honestly, just maybe the strongest card in 2v2 period, just because of that Death Bomb right there. Just does so much cleanup, provides so much defensive utility after it's off the board. You know, 6 Elixir ends up not being that much for how much you get out of it. So Hog Rider goes left. We're seeing the Giant Skeleton Hog Rider Magic Archer combo. We'll see if we see any Rages or Lumberjacks thrown in there as well. Something that we started to see a lot more in CRL. So there is a Hog Rider. Goes right on through. Earthquake not even needed because the Inferno Tower is focused on the Giant Skeleton, which is exactly what you want and how you want to orchestrate those attacks. Musketeer on the tower as well. So a really, really nice start here for Rayo and 007. Tommy and Trainer Pegasus' defense just got away from him there a little bit. You have to deal with things in layers or in sequence there, and that Hog Rider was not dealt with. The tower did not pick it up, even though the Earthquake came in. Just ended up slowing down the Princess Tower, and yeah, really, really well played by the Bolivians. So Magic Archer going to line up here and try to steal some damage away. Musketeer going to be played up high with that Dark Goblin. A bit of a double drop there, but luckily for Rayo and 007, that Dark Goblin staying out of the poison and going to go towards the tower that they'd like. So gets a log out of their opponents, which is excellent for them. It's a small interaction, but an important one. So now you see this Hog Rider going right on through. Maybe they would have enjoyed to have their log here on defense, stop one of those hits, and keep that tower a bit above 43 HP, so a couple hog hits here as well for Tommy and Trainer Pegasus. And elixir and a half leaked, or 1.1 elixir leaked here from Trainer Pegasus, maybe trying to figure out when to send that Hog Rider in. And a freeze comes down last second. Giant Skeleton not able to get its way to the tower as a High Musketeer comes down to distract. 43 HP remaining on the top of your screen, and you know, any of the spells they have in hand, Poison Log, Snowball, Earthquake, they'll do the trick. So tower down. Will Tommy, will they get there in time? Yes, they do. Here we go. Earthquake and Poison dropped in. Maybe a bit of a double drop there, so now they're taking some damage here on defense, and the freeze comes in late. Mini P.E.K.K.A takes that off the board. Hog Rider still swinging away. Mini P.E.K.K.A swinging away. Hog Rider still going. A beautiful, beautiful freeze there from Rayo and 007, and that double drop of spells at the end of regulation from Tommy and Trainer Pegasus is the reason why they find themselves the loser of this game number one. A really great game number one. A lot of back and forth there, and you know, it looked like the Bolivians had run away with it early on, but you know, Tommy and Trainer Pegasus able to make a game of it at the end there and able to take that tower down, but we talk about double drops in 2v2 all the time. Rich and I talk about it all the time at CRL, especially as you get the end of regulation. You need the tower to go down in time, and maybe they weren't sure if the poison or the earthquake ticks were going to get there in time, or maybe they just both decided to drop because they're not right next to each other. They double drop the spells, and then all of a sudden they have that much less elixir for defense, which, you know, they really, really could have used. That Mini P.E.K.K.A and Hog Rider with the freeze was just devastating. The Iwis got eaten alive there. So only one freeze used on both sides of the board, and both those freezes were very, very effective. However, you see the Bolivians coming out. So 007 and Rayo now 1-2 in games, finally picking up their very first game, but against a good 2v2 squad here, and against a very, very similar deck composition. You know, you look at all the cards on the board, and there's obviously not the exact same. We're not talking a mirror matchup here, but the same general idea. You know, you're going Hog Rider freeze with a bunch of other spells and some range damage to support with Giant Skeleton up front for cleanup. But really nicely played by Rayo and 007, holding on to that freeze till the very, very end. I mean, the fact that they were happy not to use it at all in regulation play, and then it became huge at the end of the game now. So game number 2, Bolivia, 1-game lead. Just to remind you, Baby Dragon and Tornado, both bans, so maybe we'll see something in the skies. Battle Healer is such a strong card in 2v2. It's a card that I think, honestly, as more and more 2v2 gets played competitively, it's a card that I think will be banned more often and utilized more often when it's not banned. I mean, the ability to just heal so many units on the board that can stack up seems like something that you would, an advantage that you may not want to leave on the bench, per se. So Wall Breakers support this Mega Knight and Musketeer. A really, really nice Mega Knight in return, taking all that off the board. Not hitting the Musketeer, though, so this Mega Knight not going to get quite as much out of it as Rayo and 007 might have liked. So, double drop there on the spells. One of those would have done. Probably should have just stuck with the log. So maybe some bats will come down early here. There they are, bats on the other side. Gonna go for some offense. Nice little sizzle there. The Inferno Tower. +1 trade. Magic Archer cycled towards the weaker of the two towers, and also towards the tower that they're maybe wanting to focus on. Not sure. Feels like the Magic Archer should have went the other way. So there you go, Mega Knight plus Musketeer drop on the right-hand side to meet those wall breakers. Probably a Mega Knight in turn. There it is. Mega Knight comes down, does not focus on the Musketeer, but the Mini P.E.K.K.A. on the opponent's Mega Knight. So still not exactly defended the way that Tommy and Trainer Pegasus would have liked. Still chipping away at that bottom left-hand side. Wall breakers are not connecting, but the miners are. Here. I like this. The spread of the wall breakers. Wall breaker does connect on the right-hand side, so maybe Tommy and Trainer Pegasus have figured out something here, you know, keeping enough pressure up on both lanes, but maybe not at the expense of taking that Dark Prince charge in the top left-hand side, evening things up here, at least a little bit. So Miner in once again, nothing there to even try to catch the Miner. Graveyard comes down alternatively for Rayo and 007, and that does not feel like a good time to pull the trigger on the Graveyard. You know, a lot of elixir in hand from your opponents, not a lot on the board on your side. They're not committing to a huge offensive push at the moment. They're able to just kind of drop everything on defense there and now create, you know, enough of a counter push that they can just drop this rocket in, no problem. So Trainer Pegasus and Tommy capitalize on maybe an ill-advised Graveyard at the end of the game, but you understand what Rayo and 007 were doing. You know, they really needed to create some pressure. They needed to at least try to get some offense on the board. They were getting a little bit here and there all throughout that game, and, you know, they got a little bit more damage towards the end on that top left-hand tower, but, you know, what I was saying is when they decided to go in for the Graveyard, it wasn't at a moment where Tommy and Trainer Pegasus were kind of going all out on offense, or they just had gone all out on offense or defense. It felt like it was a moment where things had kind of slowed down and reset for a moment. And you saw what happened. You know, they were able to drop like 10 elixir down on defense to create enough of a counter push to where they were still able to keep up the pressure on the left, get a little bit of chip damage on the right, and then drop in that rocket carefree. So here are some of the stats. 1 rocket played from Tommy. And of course, 0 graveyards from 007 and only 1 from Rayos. Another thing to recognize there, as we were talking about in the first matches, you know, we didn't see the double wall breaker as much, or at least not in one of the games. And here you saw the double wall breakers able to keep up a ton of pressure, so much so that those graveyards were just not able to get down. Because if they're able to get the graveyards down, there's only 1 poison. Magic Archer needs to be played behind. You know, if the graveyards are able to get on the board at an effective time, that's still tough. It's still tough. They've got snowballs, they got Valkyries, they got Mega Knight, they got bats, they got goblins. You know, they had so many answers for the graveyard. So maybe not the easiest matchup there for Bolivia in game number 2. So here we go, game number 3 coming up. Kind of more matchup dependent here in game number 2, it felt like. See what happens in game number 3. Miner plus wall breakers early. And a lot spent on defense. Miner goes to the back. Mega Knight does not turn. Would have been really nice for Rayo and 007 had that Mega Knight turned and jumped on that Miner. So healthy counter push coming in for Tommy and Trainer Pegasus. Valkyrie plus that snowball should create a nice bit of response. And no wall breaker connect. Nice dual lane pressure here coming. Didn't really matter because the goblins were still dropped right on top of the wall breakers, but you know, you can, in 2v2 especially, you can send that miner into that middle tile on the inside and tank for both the towers, if not just for a split second, long enough to get those wall breakers to connect on through. So Snake Knight in the back. Both these squads slowing down quite a bit before we get into double elixir time. Magic Archer not going to get spelled off the board. Maybe something dropped in front, keeping Magic Archer alive. Nope. Still going to survive long enough to take out that Inferno Tower, so a nice recognition of the interaction there. So Magic Archer comes down in kind for Tommy and Trainer Pegasus. Out of cycle. In comes the wall breakers, but Goblin's there with the log. Nice mini pickup on the back for the miner. It's kind of an interesting back and forth here. You know, neither squad really making any huge blows or huge mistakes. They're just both chipping away slowly. It's gonna be all about who makes that first mistake, who gives too much value or not enough value out of their Magic Archer. Still doing a really good job of layering these defenses. 8:30 now on the bottom right-hand side, so Tommy and Trainer Pegasus is really starting to feel like they're pulling away, but 150 HP behind are Rayo and 007 top right, and that miner does connect on both sides of the board. Magic Archer gets dropped in, gets a couple chip shots in there. Two nice piercing shots, and wall breakers up front to defend. Look at that, all the spell value though coming in at the end. Tommy and Trainer Pegasus, they do the math. The miner is there. The wall breakers look like they're touching the tower for Rayo and 007. That is a heartbreaker, man. That was so freaking close. But that's 2 games in a row where Tommy and Trainer Pegasus just recognized where they were at with their spell damage, where they're at with their cycle and their elixir, and just going, all right, look, we got enough time, let's just go for it. And you saw that miner and those wall breakers were all on the tower. They were there. Oh, that's a nail biter. That's a heartbreaker. That's what that is. But that's what's expected, you know? Especially with those really nice Magic Archer shots at the end, piercing through for Rayo and 007. It felt like they were going to be able to end up taking that 2v2 set after such a great, strong start. But Tommy and Trainer Pegasus wear them down. Once again, the rocket only goes flying just once from Tommy, not even able to get it off the board. We're Rayo and 007. So, you know, maybe that's a question you start to have to ask yourself if you're Rayo and 007 or their coach. Should they have noticed, or should they have recognized their spell cycle and their spell damage with the help of a minor hit? Could they have taken that swing a little bit earlier than Tommy and Trainer Pegasus? You know, they were so close at the end there. But that's with the connection of the wall breakers plus the minor. Who knows? Who knows? But maybe just trying to steal a little bit more spell value throughout that game would have been the maybe the big winner there for Bolivia. But Rayo and 007, they did really well. They had a really strong showing here in 2v2. Trainer Pegasus and Tommy looked, you know, very strong in their first showing. And today you saw Rayo and 007 gave them a bit more of a run for their money. But who's going to come out in 1v1? You know, last time in 1v1 for Bolivia, we saw Mao, who, you know, he ended up going, I believe, 2-1 in that 1v1 set. And then for Nicaragua, it was Sergio Tremino, who struggled a lot against Franco Medina. Ended up running into him again in the King of the Hill. Was not able to take him down there, so he's 1-3 in games, or maybe he did. I can't remember. But here we go, 1v1. Sergio Tremino going up against Mao. So no change here in lineups, and Mao starting off aggressive and early with that really nice Magic Archer lineup, but now he's going to have a lot to deal with on the other end of it, so he goes high with the poison here. A really nice poison. One skeleton does sneak back around to the back side and help out with the miner. So Sergio ends up getting the better of that exchange. Bomb tower a little bit low, so a connection on the left-hand side. A couple of mental mistakes from Mao early on, and You know, it did feel like he got a little bit aggressive with that lineup with the Magic Archer plus the Tornado and on top of the Valkyrie and Magic Archer in the first exchange. He needed to take out one of those two units for it to be worthwhile. So Valkyrie has to come down, so minor bats come in. Bat's now going to demand a response on the front end. One bat does connect for a few bites. Mao still playing from behind, elixir-wise. High Valkyrie here. Yep, there it is. Perfect, easy decision-making there for Sergio Tremino. So this is tough when you're playing in a game like this. I mean, really the biggest deciding factor is going to be those minor pickups, and then the ability to catch your opponent off guard with the wall breakers. And for Mao, he's got to get some really, really nice lineups with that Magic Archer plus Tornado. He really needs to at this point, especially because he's so far behind, and they're both going for the exact same thing, which is minor chip damage. Hopefully getting some spell damage if and where they can, and obviously the wall breakers connecting. The Magic Archer is going to be the big X factor in this game. So great job there from Mao, keeping his Magic Archer alive, but on the other side of it, Sergio Tremino gets those piercing shots in on that tower, now below 1,000 HP. And he keeps playing these Valkyries right in front of his Magic Archers, but he's giving his opponent great value with his Valkyries in response. And Mao should recognize that Sergio's got his Valkyrie back in cycle, and playing a Valkyrie of his own right in front of his Magic Archer is just giving away 4 elixir. So minor to the back. Poison comes in. Bats will get cleaned up for the most part, other than just one stray bat helping out. There we go. Magic Archer down for Mao now, connecting to the tower. There's the lineup we're talking about, but it comes up just a second late. Now wasted 3 elixir on that Tornado. How will he defend? Will he be able to defend? So he decides to play the High Valkyrie of his own. Minor to the inside. Yes, it does go to the inside. Wall breakers off to the right, so the Magic Archer cannot be played up high to the left. And a great Magic Archer there from Sergio Tremino lines up the bomb tower and the Magic Archer of Mao. Valkyrie dropped a second late. There we go. Big push coming in for Mao. NATO comes in. Everything dropped down. Wall breakers evaporated off the board, though. Really looking for that connection. High bats trying to distract the Magic Archer. Those piercing shots are it's so crazy to watch, like the ends of these games where all your opponent's looking for and all you're looking out to defend against is those high Magic Archers. So there he goes. One more Magic Archer shot comes in for Sergio Tremino, but at the cost of what? A minor poison on his tower. Mao ends up coming back around. Sergio getting a little bit too aggressive too many times with those Magic Archers and giving a little bit too much value over to Mao, but alternatively, Mao kept doubling down with those Magic Archer pushes and dropping a Valkyrie right in front of it, and Sergio would just clean it up with 4 elixir of his own every time and get a nice, healthy counter push. Man, but Mao just played that so well, even with the misplayed Tornadoes a couple times. Or not even misplayed, because he ends up getting a little bit of damage and value out of them, but maybe just the over-aggressive Tornadoes. But it's hard to say it's over-aggressive when he ended up winning, and he ended up coming from so far from behind. So really, really well played there. And again, a very similar deck archetype. Not quite a mirror matchup, but, similar. See there, the poison and the arrows being different. And then, of course, the Tornado, as opposed to the bats. Those Magic Archers, 7 down for Mao, 6 down for Sergio Tremino. 8 minors from Sergio, as opposed to 9 from Mao. So everything was very, very close. Not really able to get a lot of spell value was Mao. Sergio did a good job of that and not allowing him to get too much from the Magic Archers. Obviously, Magic Archer getting poisoned out with some tower damage is something that Sergio knew his opponent was going to take 10 times out of 10. So avoiding that. And then I love watching the battles at the rivers at the end of those games. The units being dropped up high in front of their tanks, just making sure those Magic Archers cannot get dropped up and pierce on right through to that tower. Yeah, I mean, everyone still says Magic Archer needs a nerf. I'm not sure how I feel about it. Maybe a slight nerf, maybe, you know, baby nerf. It does feel like Magic Archer is very, very strong right now in these decks. You know, Tornado usually the big difference maker, but not so much the case in game number 1. So wall breakers again from Mao. Minor Musketeer, so it could be seeing Balloon from Sergio, or it could even be seeing Mortar, maybe. Always wanting it to be Mortar, but could end up still just being wall breakers. Yep, there they are. A guy can hope. Nice use of the Ice Golem there to disrupt the run of Sergio Tremino's wall breaker. But now without an Ice Golem to kite, but 9 Elixir to respond, so maybe a High Hunter and a Defensive Miner. Nope, goes with Skeletons instead. There's the Defensive Miner. So nice response there. Bat's going to be played up high. There they are. Take out that Musketeer. Really, really clean defense. But Sergio maybe now able to recognize a bit of his opponent's cycle. Late log. All played. So both these guys essentially untouched. So we get into the double elixir time. And that's exactly what I was talking about earlier in 2v2, but not executed correctly. Now they're trying to get the miner into the middle tile to tank for both towers, but the bats were dropped a little bit too soon, or the miner was dropped just a second too late, so the miner ended up not tanking for the bats that went in the right-hand lane. And what could have been a nice strike there from Mao, hindered by his own slight misplay in mechanics. That is a really, really fun thing to do, though, and that's something that I started seeing Igor do a lot in his videos. So Ice Golem just a second late, and now that Hunter gets turned around. But a defensive miner and another hunter there. Mega Knight's still alive. Minions untouched. And that's going to be a ton of damage coming in on that right-hand tower for Mao. Sergio Tremino played that really, really well. Miner went to the back, turned that hunter around, keep his own, you know, his Mega Knight alive, and more so keep those scatter shots off of those minions. So there's the kite from the Ice Golem. Hunter pops that miner, but Mega Knight gonna try to leap on through. Cycle here so quick from Mao. Maybe a Mega Knight, there it is. At that moment, not really a lot of other responses, but Mao's gotta take a nice little sigh of relief here as he's defending his tower with a lot more health. Sergio doing the correct thing, striking on both lanes. Hunter putting in work on the left-hand side of the board. Miner taking for the wall breakers. Mega Knight comes down just in time. Mega Knight sneaky there. Doesn't take the brunt of that shotgun shot from the Hunter, but does jump right on top of it. Miner to the back. Minions there. This is huge. Sergio now has that tower down to 1305. Mega Knight jumps on the right-hand side. And Sergio Tremino fires back in game number 2 against Mao. Such a quick cycle there for Mao, and he did a really, really good job staying in the game and keeping up with that defense and getting some damage in on that left-hand side, but just really having a hard time making a really big strike. And then you saw Sergio Tremino doing exactly what he needed to do towards the end of the game. Just split your opponent up, throw in just a little bit, just a couple elixir in the opposite lane. It's so easy to create a lot of damage with those wall breakers. Even if it's just 2 elixirs sent there, it makes your opponent use their spells out of cycle. And when, you know, Mao's playing a deck like this where really he's relying on having his Hunter and his Ice Golem always back in cycle. And you saw a handful of times, I think maybe 3 times, we saw defensive miners coming out from Mao, which makes his offense basically disappear, right? Because the miner is kind of the integral part of his offense. He needs to be able to get his miner onto Sergio's side of the map to at least tank for some skellies, some bats, or 1 wall breaker at the very, very minimum. But just not able to do that. And it was because if you look at Sergio's deck, I mean, even his ranged unit, even his Musketeer is kind of a beefier ranged unit in comparison to something like a Magic Archer or a Flying Machine or something like that, you know, so Musketeer, and even the Goblins, you know, as opposed to Skeletons, so, you know, Musketeer, Mini P.E.K.K.A, Mega Knight, Goblins, all those being a bit beefy, and then, of course, the minions can only be taken off the board by Mao's Scattershot from his Hunter, or from his Poison. So really good job there with Sergio getting the minions to break on through a couple times, which was kind of his, not his X factor, not his big, you know, reason that he won, but those minions did break through at least twice. And the first one with the Mega Knight plus the minions was the big blow early on. And you know, when you're playing that deck, that Mao's playing a quick cycle deck with Miner and Wall Breakers as your big damage there, or Miner plus Skellies, Miner plus Bats, you really don't want to fall that far behind that early on. So game number 3, coming at you. Should be a good one. Nicaragua up a set in the 2v2. Rio and 007 put up a good fight, but not able to bring home that set for them. So very interesting position here for Bolivia. Sergio Tremino playing well against Mao. Will Mao go Wall Breakers again? Will he do it 3 games in a row? Seems to be his favorite win condition, or at least his favorite. Yeah, let's say win condition, because his archetype changes a little bit. You know, we've seen the Mega Knight version, we've seen just the Minor Valkyrie version. Obviously with the Magic Archer. Alright, so Battle Ram. Well, maybe just go on some classic Bridge Spam. Archetype that never really falls out of the meta. Mao maybe going... Mao could be going Bridge Spam as well. Curious, you know. Those cards also go with Graveyard, but usually you don't see Zap quite as often. Okay. So a nice little change of pace here in game number 3. P.E.K.K.A in the back to meet this bandit. P.E.K.K.A will not get there in time. Oh, it does. Just barely. Whew. I should know that. So P.E.K.K.A to meet P.E.K.K.A, but Iwa's on the left-hand side, so not going to be able to play on the right-hand side. A lot of times you'll see when P.E.K.K.As run into each other in these types of matchups, the Iwa's supporting the P.E.K.K.As kind of one of the win conditions in the game, or one of the keys to victory, I should say. Not win conditions. One of the keys to victory is when Mama P.E.K.K.As do battle. Getting Iwa's to support your P.E.K.K.A. So Bandit's going to meet Shield. Nice zap there, but just a little bit early on the zap. Ends up doing nothing other than just wasting a couple elixir there. So Mao may be trying to get a little bit too fancy for his own good. Will Sergio Tremino respond with the exact same zap? No, he will not. So Battle Ram goes immediately in the right-hand lane as the P.E.K.K.A is in the left, but Iwiz is now out of cycle, so maybe now this is the moment where we see Sergio Tremino back his P.E.K.K.A up with an Iwiz of his own. No, he does not. He goes right-hand lane. Will we see a High Magic Archer? Yes, we do. So High Magic Archer, maybe a Dark Prince to catch. Nope, Bandit there. Bandit not going to actually dash the way it needed to for Mao. Cycled right, P.E.K.K.A cycled left for Sergio Tremino. Now going to back up his Iwiz with this Battle Ram. And he assume that Mao's last card still is Poison. He's just not finding a good moment to use it. Now a lot cycled here in the right-hand side. And the Bandit dashes up past the Barbarians. Mao is in a lot of trouble. Sergio Tremino looks like he's going to take this tower. He's going to take the tower. That is going to do it right there. It was just a slight miscalculation in interactions there that makes Mao drop the game. So Sergio Tremino completing the 2-set sweep for Nicaragua. Mao for Bolivia looked like he was going to be able to keep things alive, and you saw, you know, a pretty much near mirror matchup there in the final game, but just a little bit too much carelessly cycled in the left-hand lane for Mao. You know, he gets that P.E.K.K.A down the left-hand side to meet the P.E.K.K.A of his opponent, but that's 7 elixir that probably could have been defended with maybe 4. Could have been an Ewiz, could have been a kited battle ram. Who knows? Could have brought that attention over to the right-hand side, which is where Mao needed some love. He needed some help out on the right-hand side, and then Sergio Tremino just poured it on at the river. And then that really, really interesting charge, or the dash from Mao's Bandit, where it went up instead of to the left. And then all of a sudden, he finds his tower just getting engulfed by all of Sergio Tremino's troops. So really, really well played by both those guys. Sergio Tremino is able to take the victory, and you know, Magic Archer not able to ever pierce on through there for Mao, which is one of the things that, you know, could be a necessity in that somewhat mirror matchup, right? And then Mao, you know, not able to get the poison down, which I'm pretty sure was his last card. You know, in that deck composition, that's usually what it's going to be. So we'll see here when they do bring up the stats if we can. We'll see if I was right or wrong. But, man, bridge spam will get you. Bridge spam will really get you. It feels like you'll be in charge for so long. It feels like you'll be in control of the game for a good amount of time, and then just one small miscalculation. So, you know, attacks and strikes. So there you go. 0-2, Nicaragua over Bolivia. Nicaragua moving on up. This is a really, really good, or big moment for Nicaragua, I should say, because, you know, Nicaragua fell to El Salvador, I believe. Is that correct? So there you go. There's all the matchups. Now I don't have to guess. So Nicaragua fell to Argentina. So not quite what they wanted out of this, but you can still look here. Bolivia now in last place. These other squads, Nicaragua and El Salvador, tied with 3 points. Argentina just off to the races, locking in that first place victory, or that first place position. At least it feels like it. It feels like it at this point. I can't imagine they would fall out of at least the top 2. But they have yet to play Bolivia. See how that goes. Bolivia still looking for their very first win, but didn't end up getting that 2v2 set win like I was talking about. Guys, I appreciate you being here. Thanks for hanging out with me today. Unfortunately, this is where I'm going to have to call it quits on the day. I'm moving. I'm moving around. Moving is no fun. So the next match should start in about 20 minutes. You guys got some time for that. I can tell you what matches are coming up, so you guys can get ready, get excited. Let's see. Here we are. So, let's take a look at the schedule here. So, with that, Nicaragua takes out Bolivia. Coming up next will be Peru and Colombia. And it'll be the USA and the Dominican Republic. Really bummed that I'm not going to be able to cast that match. I really am. I really wanted to cast one of the matches for the US, but unfortunately schedules do not provide. And then, of course, coming up tomorrow, we've got 4 more matches. Ecuador and Mexico, Canada and Venezuela, Chile and Brazil, all-star squad of Brazil, and then of course South Korea and China to close things out, and those will all be starting at 5 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. There's a lineup. That's what I was talking about. So Colombia and Peru. Colombia 2-0'd Dominican Republic, and Peru 2-0'd the United States. So that should be a really, really great match coming up next. And after that, as I just said, the U.S. got 0-2 dominated by Peru. And the Dominican Republic 0-2 against Colombia. Very similar to what we saw in the first 2 matches of the day. Who do you guys got? Who's going to bounce back? I'm going for the boys in blue. I'm going for the U.S. I got to, right? I got to support my squad, support my country. That's the whole point of this thing. But Peru and Colombia should be a great, great match. Both those squads looked really, really strong on Sunday. So just a little bit until we get underway on the next match. As I said, I will not be casting the next match, unfortunately. I think full frontage will come in for the final match of the day. That's U.S. and Dominican Republic at 10 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. But the next match between Peru and Colombia should be starting in about 18 minutes or so. Alright guys, that is my cue. Thank you so much for hanging out with me. Once again, I'm Andrew Guy, CRL caster. Color commentary, I do it with my boy Rich Slayton. He'll be back casting more matches as well. I'm going to try to come back. As I said, I'm moving, so I don't know if I'll actually logistically be able to. I'll have a setup for it. But make sure you hang out and watch the next 2 matches. Again, Peru and Colombia, followed by United States and the Dominican Republic. Go give Manu and Koji some love on Twitter. They're the guys that put this all together. And thank you guys for the support. Make sure to, go give me a follow. I'm about to hit 5,000. I'd love if you guys are my 5,000th follower. All right, bye guys.